Look, you've probably heard this before. You've heard the generic advice about working hard, finding your niche and building a brand. But I'm not here to give you the cereal box advice. We're talking about survival here. Because right now, up to 75% of new brokers are leaving the industry within their first year. Between the MFAA and the FBAA, over 3,500 brokers entered the industry in 2025. And the brutal reality is that with record numbers of appointed credit representatives, a good percentage of them are not going to be around here in the next 2 years. You might think the biggest risk might now be not knowing enough about lender products or policies. But the truth is, the mistakes that actually kill new broker careers have nothing to do with technical knowledge. They are entirely operational and psychological. I'm James Angus, founder of FinWeb Broker Group. Through our partnership with the Mr. Mentor program, I've seen exactly what separates the brokers who build seven-figure businesses from the ones who quietly return to their old bank jobs. Today, I'm breaking down the 6 specific mistakes that are quietly destroying new broker businesses right now and exactly how you can avoid them. Starting with the first mistake, the silent killer, that is cash flow. It's the belief that because you have one good referral partner or one marketing channel that's working, that you're safe. In the grand scheme of things, your business is only as stable as your lead flow. If 80% of your business comes from one real estate agent, you don't have a business. You just have a highly vulnerable job. If that agent retires, changes agencies, or simply decides they like another broker better, your pipeline goes to zero overnight. This happens all the time. A new broker networks hard, lands a solid referral partner, and gets comfortable. They stop marketing. They stop networking. They assume the tap will just stay on. But then the market shifts. The referral partner's business slows down, and suddenly the broker is staring at an empty pipeline and a looming tax bill. I've seen brokers go from writing $4 million a month to $500,000 a month simply because their primary lead source dried up. The tactical fix here is diversification. You need at least 3 distinct, reliable lead generation channels. That might be one strong real estate partner, a consistent social media content strategy, and a structured past client referral system. Never let one source account for more than 40% of your total volume. The next point is crucial, and it's where most ambitious brokers burn out. The mistake is believing that doing your own loan processing saves you money. When you're starting out, you have more time than money. So you do everything. You chase the leads, you do the interviews, you structure the loans, you collect the documents, you submit the applications, you chase the banks. You think you're being lean and efficient. But here's the reality. 82% of small businesses fail due to cash flow problems. And your cash flow as a broker is directly tied to your capacity to sell. Every hour you spend on hold with a lender's pricing team or chasing a client for an updated payslip is an hour that you are not generating new business. You are effectively paying yourself a minimum wage to do administrative work while your high-value relationship-building skills and problem-solving sit idle. This is why at FinWeb, we include loan processing support from day one. We know that if you're bogged down in admin, you just can't grow. The tactical step, track your time for 1 week. Categorize every task as either revenue generating or administrative. If administrative is taking up more than 30% of your week, you are bottlenecking your own growth. You need to outsource or delegate that processing work immediately, even if it feels like an expense. It's actually an investment in your own sales capacity. Now, buying shared leads. Let's talk about a mistake born out of desperation. Buying shared leads from third-party providers. When the pipeline is dry, it's incredibly tempting to just buy a list of names. The providers promise high intent, ready-to-buy customers. But the implication of relying on this strategy is a race to the bottom. When you buy a shared lead, that same name and number has been sold to 4 or 5 other brokers. The moment that lead hits your inbox, it's already a foot race. You are competing entirely on speed and price. The client is overwhelmed with calls, and they immediately view you as a commodity and not a trusted advisor. We've seen brokers spend thousands of dollars on these lists only to convert maybe 1 in 50, and the one they do convert is usually a highly complex, low-margin deal that takes twice as long to process. Instead of buying shared leads, invest that money into building your own proprietary lead generation engine. Run your own targeted ads, build your own email list, or host first home buyer seminars. You want leads that are exclusive to you, where you have already established some level of trust and authority before the first phone call. I always say to our team, the best leads are the ones where they know your name before you know theirs. This is the mistake that costs brokers 95% of their potential business. Treating lead generation as a one-time event rather than a continuous process. Most brokers will get a lead, call them maybe once, send them one email, and if they don't get a response, they mark it as dead or move on. They assume that if the client was serious, they would have replied. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of consumer psychology. People are busy. They get distracted. Buying a house or refinancing is a massive and stressful decision. And often they just aren't ready to act the exact moment you call. The money is in the follow-up. A lead isn't dead until they explicitly tell you to stop contacting them or they buy a house with someone else. You need a structured, automated follow-up sequence. And here is your tactical implementation. Build a 12-touch follow-up system that includes phone calls, text messages, emails, and even a physical piece of mail over a 90-day period. Provide value in every touch point. Don't just say, just checking in. Send them a market update, a calculator, a relevant case study. Persistence when paired with value builds immense trust. Mistake number 5 is a big killer of both businesses and mental health. Trying to figure it out all alone. Despite being so incredibly busy in emails, phone calls, and so forth, mortgage broking, ironically, can be an incredibly lonely profession. You're sitting in a home office, staring at a screen, trying to decipher a lender's policy manual that reads like it was written in another language. When a deal gets declined or a client gets angry, you have no one to bounce ideas off. This isolation breeds self-doubt. You start second-guessing your structures, your pricing, and your worth. And when you're doubting yourself, you can't sell effectively. I've seen incredibly smart people fail simply because they didn't have a sounding board. They hit a complex scenario, panicked, and lost the deal. And this is exactly why the industry average attrition rate is well over 50%, screaming towards 75%. While aggregators running structured mentoring programs like ours see an attrition rate less than 10%. You need a village. You need a mentor who has seen scenarios you're struggling with. You need a peer group of other brokers who are in the trenches with you. If your current aggregator just gives you a software login and a pat on the back, you are at a massive disadvantage. Find a community, find a mentor, and stop trying to reinvent the wheel alone. The final mistake is the one that actually forces you to close the doors. Poor cash flow management and ignoring the reality of clawbacks. Many new brokers look at the first few settlement commission statements and think they've made it. They scale up their lifestyle, take on new expenses, and assume that the money will just keep rolling in. But they forget 2 critical things. First, the lag time between writing a loan and actually getting paid can be 60 to 90 days. Secondly, clawbacks are real. If a client refinances or sells within the first 18 to 24 months, the bank will take that commission back. If your client has a sizable amount in an offset account, the lender will reduce your upfront comms or claw it back. And if you haven't provisioned for this, a single clawback on a large loan can wipe out your operating capital for the month, if not more. The tactical rule here is simple. You must operate on a minimum viable budget, especially for your first 2 years. Keep your fixed costs incredibly low. And crucially, set up a dedicated clawback provision account. Every time a commission hits your main account, immediately transfer 15 to 20% of it into that provision account. Do not touch that money. It is not yours yet. If you survive the clawback period, it becomes a bonus. If the clawback hits, you pay it from the provision account without it ever affecting your daily operations. So these are the 6 mistakes. Depending on one lead source, trying to do all the processing yourself, buying shared leads, ignoring the follow-up, operating in isolation, and mismanaging your clawback strategy. But knowing them isn't enough. You have to actively audit your business against them. And I want to make sure that you walk away from this episode with a clear picture of which ones apply to you right now. So stay with me because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in the next few minutes. The difference between the 75% of brokers who fail and the 25% who succeed isn't the raw intelligence. It's structure, support, and avoiding those unforced errors. You don't have to figure this out the hard way. If you're sitting there right now wondering which of these mistakes might be already creeping into your business, or if you feel like you're spinning your wheels without the right support, we need to talk. I want you to book a free one-on-one business health diagnostic chat with us. We'll sit down, look at your current setup, identify where the leaks are, and map out a clear plan to help you fix them. The link is right down in the description. Book a time. Let's get your business on solid ground, and I'll see you in the next one.